Hi guys. So whenever you're setting up very complex workflows, there's bound to be scenarios in which either for a specific account or a contact, you did not get a value. And in those cases, you would want the workflow to run in either of two ways. Number one is you either ignore that value and keep the other steps intact. Like for example, you did not find the revenue, but you did find maybe the funding. You would want to like push the funding to the CRM, etc. Or if it's a very important value, something like email, like in case you did not get an email, then any other enrichment that you've done anyways becomes like irrelevant. In those cases, you would want the other enrichments to be pushed only if you do find the email, right? One way to handle this is obviously setting up very complex logic of run conditions. But to simplify this further, we have set up ways in which you can tag or select columns as required or optional, right? So there are two ways in which this operates. Number one is in prompt or text boxes. So any enrichment in which you are either embedding a previously retrieved value in the prompt box, you can set that as required or optional. I'll just show you how you do that. For example, here, I have set up a very small prompt to check whether the information that we get from the LinkedIn enrichment is the company our ICP or not, right? And for that, I'm just passing the dump. So for now, this is a required column. So it is, as you could see, it's required to run. So how you really set that up is when you select the at key, you would have an option to either select it as required if you click on the blue tick right here, or as optional if you click on this empty circle right here. So I'll just show you how this really works. I'll just select that as an optional key right now. This field, sorry. And I'll just remove the previously tagged information. I'll save this. And for example, let's run right now the first 10 rows. And let's remove the applicant's information from here. So if I run this now, this would still run. And it will give a false value because I put this here. If the dump is empty, return false. Now, if this was a required column, let's wait for the run to complete. Okay, perfect. Now, if this was a required column, select this as required. Okay. So logically, now, since this is a required column, this should fail. If I run this for the first 10 rows, you see, no value in enrich company. So in the first scenario, I had set up a case wherein even if the value is empty, the workflow would run as intended. So it would just be set as non-ICP, and maybe some of the further enrichments that we have planned would not operate on these, or whatever type of segregation you want to do in the workflow. But if you set it as required, the enrichment itself will not run at all. Okay. Now this is the case when you are setting up required or optional columns in the prompt box. So that is the logic here. Another way in which you do this is while passing these values as parameters, either to integrations or to a separate grid, or in any other like intra-grid interaction, like action, like VLOOKUP or export leads. So for that, the logic remains the same. Here you would see there's an option to make them required or optional. So how this operates is if it's a required column and if it's errored, the errored value will flow in as it is. Okay. Since a required column. So whatever information is available in that cell, it will flow into the other grid or the integration that you have set up. But if it's an optional one, we will replace the errored values, empty values, and missing values, run condition not met values by an empty string. That can help you like maintain the quality of the data that you're pushing to whatever integration you're pushing and help your data be clean. So in this scenario, my personal recommendation would be like by default setting everything as optional, so that if there's any errored information, it does not flow into your CRM, etc. And if any information is not pulled, it is just replaced by an empty string, and whatever is pulled is pushed to your CRM, sort of like an absurd logic. So that would be my recommendation. But yeah, this is how this works. So these are two ways in which you can now leverage the required and optional column tagging on Bitscale. Should make your workflows much more simpler. And if utilized well, maybe you can create much more complex workflows now. So do reach out if you have any other questions on how you can utilize this features in your current workflows. We're happy to help you out. You can reach out to our support channel. It's available 24/7. So cheers, bye.